Welcome everyone. You're listening to and perhaps watching on the Audible. It's Division 1 and 2. I'm Peeze. I often like to take long showers. Like it's irresponsible. And they're way too hot.
I'm Simon. I'm not really a fan of the shower.
I know.
I think like 5-minute showers. That's it.
I can tell.
I got you.
And I'm Eagle. I don't like bath, but when I do take them, I like to bomb them.
So I broke my bathtub.
Okay.
On purpose?
No. No.
Because like sledgehammering it for renovations, that sounds fun.
Well, that's what I gotta do soon.
Also, super stupid. Just take it out as a one piece. Don't smash your bathroom.
No, I'm gonna smash it.
No, once you do it, you're gonna realize the mistake.
No, but saying Castilla, I have to smash it.
You know what you should do? You should put your bathtub on a wagon so you can fall out of it.
Yeah, wagon.
You also
Wagon bath.
Also, even if it ain't
Bath wagon.
Bath wagon.
you could just break the cast and just take it out.
Hey guys.
All right.
No,
That's
smash
what
it.
you're gonna do. Trust me.
New plan. You get a horse. You hook the bathtub onto the horse. So you have a bath wagon.
Bath
Yes.
wagon.
Yes, I'm sold.
I'm not getting a horse. It's too expensive. So
Shut
I
up.
was cleaning my beer equipment. The equipment I used to make beer. I dropped a carboy that was full of water, so it was like 50 pounds, like straight down onto the. It's like acrylic. Just cracked it.
So
So
what you're saying is, if you would have slightly fell onto it, you would have cracked it.
well, no, but it's dropped from height, right? Like I have it over my shoulder, and then
Physics,
falls.
Simo. You throw a football.
You're not
You should know how
jumping
they
into your
work.
bathtub with no water in it.
Cannonball!
Like yes, if I would have
Wow, that would have hurt so much.
if I would dive into my bathtub with no water, yes, it would crack and I would crack.
That would have hurt so much.
So I haven't taken a bath in a long time, which I never cared about before. But now that I can't do it, the first thing I do when I'm going to Savannah is on my bachelor party is taking a bath. I'm gonna
Really?
take a bottle of whiskey, and fall asleep in the bath.
That's the first thing you want to do?
Yeah.
Fall asleep in the bath?
Well, I have 2 connecting flights, so I'm gonna be exhausted. I play an FBF game at 11, and I gotta leave for my flight at 3 a.m.
Oh, that sounds like a fun night.
Yeah, show me your TDs is a good chance of missing that week. So,
FYI. Good thing it's on the 4 podcast.
yeah,
Mikey will not know.
exactly. Well, he'll know that night. He'll know that night when Aaron Conte is
10,
snapping.
15.
Division 1 and 2 last week was a quick episode.
Wait.
Mo did me a solid because I had a very angry fiance who needed me to get the hell out. I know this league's got a lot of dudes in it, and they all understand because they've all been in that situation before where they put flag ahead of the relationship for a night. And my night to
In
do
our
so
case-
was Valentine's.
In our case, we could say work.
Yeah, at some point she stops giving a shit when I work every night of the week. And she's waiting for me at a bar.
By herself.
By herself.
On Valentine's Day.
On Valentine's Day.
That was
where
more
there's
the
every
issue.
creep in the world coming by like, hey, baby, alone on Valentine's Day. They're all Southern, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just her type.
You should have just asked her to
It's true, though.
should have asked him to record that. We could have played it on the podcast.
Yeah.
We already have
We'll get
Vowels.
Mo to say it.
Yeah.
He would say that you, like
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
like
yeah.
that are a
No, I
specific
didn't have it ready.
kind of person.
He's not ready. Okay, Division 2 games. Let's go. Braves.
Lover boy.
Braves 2.0 beat controversy.
Mm-hmm.
39-38. So I guess Dan Zara still doesn't beat.
All right, let's revoke his Hall of Fame.
I mean, he beat them earlier in the season. It's just the second game. So now they split 1-1. They're gonna play in the playoffs.
So should there be like a committee that can like revoke people's Hall of Fame status?
Wow. Speaking of, there's one player in FPF who's in the Hall of Fame, so that already narrows it down.
Mm-hmm.
Who now wants his Hall of Fame status revoked.
That's
He-
awesome.
He came up to me and he said, "I don't want to be in the Hall of Fame anymore." I said, "Rob's on vacation." So I said, "Rob's on vacation. I'm no longer playing. I'm in power. It's done. You can't go back." He's like, "Well, no. I mean, I'm kidding, right?"
No.
I said, "No, it's done.
In fact, no. Come. We'll do it
It's
for you
done.
gladly. Like,
It's done.
if you want to be a baby,
It's done."
we'll gladly help you.
So,
Way to be childish.
so I told him, "Matt, it's done."
So, Matt Kerouac, no longer Hall of Fame.
Sorry, Matt.
Now, we already know the best rusher of all time, Ryan Reede, is already in the Hall
No,
of Fame. Now we know for sure.
The real question is, if he was actually to be out of the Hall of Fame, would he be voted back in now?
That'd be awesome. How many seasons later could he get voted back in?
No. If we put him back on the ballot for next season, will people vote him in?
What we should do is actually the council should be run by Sean Avram for 2 reasons. One is that we know he would immediately vote Joey Taylor out, but also it's the closest to the Hall of Fame he'll ever get. Look, it's all in good fun. In the end, it's a celebration of FPF, and we like to have fun with it.
Prospect squad destroyed Nighthawks, 51-31.
Yeah.
Prospect squad were not looking good. Added Mario Pareca, took some time. Now they finally have an offense. They've got some good players all around.
Well, but they always did, right?
Yeah.
Like they have athletes on the team,
They just never had a quarterback.
and now they have a really good quarterback.
Now they have a quarterback who could throw the ball the way they want it to be thrown. Like,
nicely.
they like those jump balls, the deep throws, the flashy plays.
And I was gonna say, like, it's specific that he fits what they want to do, right?
I was gonna say, how come it took so long?
I think Mayer didn't want to play this season. Like they want to make
But
his
he
own team.
did, didn't he? Wasn't there a team that fell through or something?
I don't remember the kinks. I don't think he wanted to be a captain or didn't have a team or whatever. So he put himself out. Like I think it was week 2 or 3. Said I'm willing to sub if somebody wants. Very good addition for Prospect Squad. I think it helps everybody in Div 2 the fact that he plays now because it makes the game more interesting.
Yeah.
It's not just a wash, so that's kind of fun.
And like the thing is, like, I know Vincent Lozon. He's the kind of guy where if you saw it wasn't working out with him as a quarterback, he's not like a super egomaniac. He's like, no, I'm the quarterback of this team. Like, dig his heels in. Like, he's probably like, okay, guys, find somebody, please.
But that's
I'm
what
a
he
really
said.
good receiver.
But that's what he said. He said, I don't want to play quarterback. I had to, I did it, but I don't want to.
Yeah. And look, 7 catches, 54 yards. We know Vincent Lozon is a very, very talented.
He's a very good receiver.
Yeah.
Another team that added a quarterback recently, SYO for Life, added Christian Santola as the quarterback.
Sun Youth, by the way.
Symphony Youth Orchestra.
Yes.
It could be so many things.
It's actually Sun Youth.
I know what it actually is.
Symphony Youth Orchestra.
Yes, that's the one.
So they added Christian Santola as a quarterback. Question mark?
He's handsome.
He is. Very athletic. Fast.
Just because I'm here on every show, but I don't usually listen to you. Who was SYO's quarterback before him?
For SYO?
Yeah.
A mix of both Crazy Lozons and they had someone else too. I don't remember his name.
So the argument is not whether Christian
upgrade.
Sarantola is an upgrade or not. It's just that can he play Division 2?
He's an upgrade for sure.
He's definitely an upgrade. Also, there's only one Cristi Lozon. Sebastian.
No,
Cristi.
there's Manuel and Sebastian.
Well,
But
we've been
only
saying
one
this-
through fast this season.
We've been saying this for
Manuel
teams, though, right? Teams that don't have a quarterback, go get a quarterback. Worst case, they can't play Division 2 or it's much fast-paced. You learn with them, or you're going to be bad anyways, right? So you have nothing to lose here.
No, so that's it.
Because then now, if you suck, you can blame Christian Sarantola.
It's an upgrade already, right? They're more competitive. They lost to
Yeah, it was a
NR
good game.
by 7,
And that's this game without Christian Sarantola would not have been close.
No. but the stat line 10 for 23, 139 yards is not good.
But also, it was Christian Sarantola being safe, throwing a lot of balls away, like discarding balls to guys' feet, and like Christian Sarantola is a risk-averse quarterback, right? He's not going to take a chance and air it out, right? So that doesn't surprise me.
But I also think that he's a bit out of his depth.
Yeah,
All things considered.
and that he doesn't play quarterback a ton these days.
But he hasn't played in a little while.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that. But listen, if they're able to keep games close moving forward, it's a smart move.
I love games like this where you see like the OG NR go off, like Kendall, Travis, and Jordan being the top receivers. It's sort of like it's a nice feeling, right? Like those are the guys you want to see do well for.
That's also NR this season. Like they don't have the Troy, the Serge Pilon, right?
Yeah.
So they.
But so like it's for that reason this has been one of my favorite #NR teams because it's the NR I grew up on kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Kendall Murray is fighting through. I saw on Twitter he's fighting through a groin injury, and as it turns out, he's not young anymore, so it's still in some pain, but I'm sure he'll be back. And Kendall Myers at 80% is better than a lot of dudes at 100%. So.
Yes.
On the bright side, it is after Valentine's Day that he has groin injury, so
maybe that's why.
All's well that ends well.
Maybe that's how he got the groin injury to begin with.
The shocker of the week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we can.
A lover boy.
Terra Squad beats Clockmakers 37-12. Ryan Kastner throws 4 interceptions, 3 pick sixes.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one to swallow.
3 pick sixes. So it's not that Tamville that played really well. He was fine. 3 touchdowns. He was fine. 3 pick sixes. 1 by Serge Pilon, 2 by Alexandre Chevalier. Man.
Clockmakers haven't been as good as I thought they would be, though, at this point.
4 sacks. 4 sacks, 4 picks. 3 for 6. It doesn't get much worse than that.
It's pretty rough.
That's pretty much the worst night you could have. In
But so what was it? Why was it that he struggled so mightily against their squad?
I think it's a little bit of everything.
Toss up.
It's a toss-up between everything.
I've been seeing him this season. Ryan Kastner is not the Ryan Kastner that he was 5 years ago. Like he's not as fit as he was. Doesn't sling the ball as hard as he used to. His wind-up's a little bit slower than what it was before, which causes issues with hitting the same patterns that he used to. He used to run certain plays that needed him to have a rocket of an arm and hit tight windows. He's not there anymore, but he keeps trying to make it happen, which causes interception. He doesn't have his receivers anymore. These guys don't run the same patterns. The pattern the exact same way as guys used to do it. So there's a sort of a learning curve.
And to your point, like the fastball's not entirely what it was, because I remember watching the first game with you, and he kept throwing a 5 to 7 out, and I was like, man, that's gonna get picked.
Yep.
And I think 2 drives later it got picked, and man, in Div 1 and 2, like you need to be able to A, place it perfectly, and B, even if you place it perfectly, it has to get there in a hurry.
Or if you can't, don't try those.
Yeah.
Like Tamville that will not throw those patterns because he knows he's not that type of quarterback anymore. So he runs a different system and it works for him. 14 for 21 is fine. But you can't throw.
But he doesn't have the interceptions to go with that, right? So
yeah, you can't throw a game away like that. Div 1.
Yeah.
There's the game of the week this week in Division 1. Flymoor Sac played against Braves. It was an absolutely amazing game. What some of us, and by some of us I mean me, Mohan, believe will be a preview to the finals this season. Do you think...
Sorry, I'm nodding, but like I realize it's largely an audio medium. So yes.
Do you think that down the line they've won finals, Braves, Flymoor Sac? First of all, do you think it can happen?
Well, first of all, I think Braves are going to the finals. I think they're the best team in Division 1 this season.
Do you think it can happen based on the fact that if...
So because 50% of it already is there?
They need to be 1 and 2, right? Because otherwise they're going to play each other before the finals.
Yeah.
So do you think Braves are going to finish either 1 and 2? Flymoor Sac are going to finish either 1 and 2?
Braves will 100%.
Okay.
Flymoor Sac, they do play Finest next.
Flymoor Sac has 3 points on DK and Finest.
Yeah. So the thing is that Montreal's Finest takes a huge step up if they beat them for a second time this season because they'll have the tie break.
But Flymoor Sac as a tie.
I know it's a tie, but I'm saying like it creates a situation where even if Montreal's Finest win 2 games and tie a game, they still hold a tie break. It's not common, but it's
but it won't happen because of the tie.
But not only just for tiebreaker, but also the fact that but I stipulated if Montreal's Finest goes anyway. I'm not doing this with you.
If Finest loses this game, then they're
but I'm saying
5 points behind.
If Finest win this game, not only do they win a game, but it prevents Flymoor Sac from adding to that lead. Is what I'm saying.
So
with enough time for them to catch.
If Flymoor Sac wins, they're playing Finest right now, right?
Yeah.
So if Flymoor Sac wins this week, they're 5 points ahead of
At
Finest.
that point, I think
with only 3 games left. I mean, they would require Flymoor Sac to lose all their games and Finest win all their games, which is most likely not going to happen. So you're saying this if Flymoor Sac wins this week, they're locked in as the number 2 seed essentially, which would create the rematch of Brave Flymoor Sac in the finals, which is going to be an amazing game. Considering they tied the first one.
I always thought Flymoor Sac would be the next team to get there, right?
Yeah.
They would be the team to unseat the finals, and they haven't been in all this time. So, but they're getting to a point where I think this can be a season where, kind of like when we saw that finals that didn't include D-boys and finals that we talk about all the time. Yeah, this can be that kind of season for Braves and Flymoor Sac. But Braves, I think, like, is it unreasonable to say at this point Braves are the best team in FPF right now, currently? Today,
I think they are today.
Yes.
And
I agree with you.
So
I don't think it's a huge margin, by the way. I think, by the way, like the top teams in D1 are all.
I think winter 2019, the best team in FPF because it's gonna come in from Div 1 is Braves. Crazy stat line. Braves and Flymoor Sac are 1 and 2. Braves tied Flymoor Sac with 32-32. Flymoor Sac won yesterday 33-32. So I mean, if there's a final, there's most likely gonna finish.
Bigger game.
33-32.
So we know what the over/under will be at.
7-6.
But yeah, it was a good game. Michael Davidson was not present for Flymoor Sac, so the bulk of the offense went through Anthony Van Ram and Sam Narupius for Flymoor Sac.
I mean, it's not terrible options.
It's also good to see Felix Prévost come back.
Yeah,
didn't play much offense, but as a rusher, man, that guy's fast.
So I had a chance to talk to Sam Ashtab, who was on sideline for my game this week. And he was just so. First of all, we were wrong about. We thought Rav Mashtub was back this week. He was not back this week.
No, Miles Gibbon was playing for him.
Miles Gibbon actually did all right, but the biggest difference is that Monstars don't have Rod Mashtub on defense. I think that's the biggest thing.
But they don't have
that's what Sam Mashtub was saying too.
The Monstar team is built around Rod's ability to play quarterback, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole team is not built as the same way Finest is. They're used to Rod buying time in the pocket, breaking the rusher here and there, throwing on the run, making some spectacular plays, and his rocket of an arm.
I mean, Miles Gibbon doesn't exactly have a weak arm either.
It's also the plays don't develop as much because he doesn't move in the pocket. Correct. So he doesn't buy that time that Rod usually does. So the offense changed. It's not. I'm not saying it's worse or better. It's just different.
But so like, and Sam Ashtub's point was, while it hurts them to not have obviously one of the best quarterbacks in FPF playing quarterback, where it hurts them greater is that he's not there on defense.
Yeah, because they don't have someone else to replace him, right? If Rod's not there, then
and the thing is, he is their best defender.
Yes.
So like, not only do you lose, most teams you lose your quarterback. So, Simon, like, when you're gone at quarterback, you don't also lose an elite defender.
No.
They lose their quarterback. Oh, and by the way, an elite defender.
So, by the way, you lose your number one on both sides of the ball?
Yeah.
Which is, it's a bit of a pain. So, it causes those issues. But Monstars should be all right considering the division.
Do D-Boys make the playoffs this year?
I don't know. I think it's going to come down to... So... There's no way Finance doesn't make the playoffs.
Correct.
Minimally, right? So we already locked in Braves and Flagmore Sack. We're locking in Finest.
And for D-Boys, 3 of the next 4 games are Braves, Waste Ute, Flagmore Sack, and then Got Fat. Like,
but 2 teams won't make the playoffs. Yeah. So if we assume Got Fat is one of them, that means that either Waste Ute, Monstars, or D-Boys won't make the playoffs, or DK.
Or Finest.
Yeah.
Technically,
we're assuming Finest that won't happen, but Monstars already are 3-4. Right, so they're a game ahead behind everybody.
A game ahead behind.
Waste Youth are behind 2 games, so they have 5.
The future past.
Got Fat only have 5 games.
Well, because they already played that loss.
I can't. I'm sorry.
Look, it's fine. Finest and DK have a game behind, but...
He said they're ahead behind.
Toss up.
All right. Waste 2 have 5 games played, 4 points. D-Boys have 6 games played and 4 points. So unless if Waste 2 is able to win the next, let's say, 2 games, they are playing whoever the website loads, DK and D-Boys.
Yeah.
So
what's interesting too is Monsters have 7 games played. Waste 2 have 5 and D-Boys have 6. And Monsters have had more like a cluster of games where they're missing Rob Mashtub. It's such a weird situation.
Yeah.
This whole season's bizarre.
So if Wastesuit's able to beat DK this week, and then plays the D-Boys the following week, it could create an opportunity for Wastesuit to pull away from the bottom of the division and secure a playoff spot by knocking D-Boys further down and elevating their own stock by beating DK.
So I'm dangerously throwing topics at you because I don't know what's ahead of us, because Mocon has prepared for us a segment we like to call Toss Up or
Lover Boy.
No, I was waiting for you to hit the Toss Up.
Toss up.
That's the one.
After his performance the last 2 weeks, any concern for Ryan Kastner and what he's done for clockmakers moving forward?
And so Mocon asks a question and then we have to provide an answer. I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned.
I am also. We spoke about it a little bit before, so I don't want to dwell off too much, but it's not looking good.
Is this... So when I saw this team, I said, wow, this is a really good team. I'm excited for this team. But is this not the right team for Ryan Kastner?
If this is not the right team for Ryan Kastner, what is?
Well, so, I mean, look, it's not a question of talent. All the players on the team are talented, 100%. A lot of them are Division 1 stalwarts. But do they not do what he needs in the system?
I honestly think that this clockmaker team lacks speed.
And that's kind of what I'm referring to. Is there's not a ton of guys who take the top off the defense.
But then you think of like the Rainmakers when they were playing in Div 1, they didn't have a lot of speed either, and
they were also struggling.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I would say their struggles wasn't necessarily the personnel, but rather the lack of personnel every week.
That's fair, but Rainmakers also had guys who somehow finished on the radar, like Bobby Michaelberg, who's, as much as you could hate on him saying he wasn't that good or whatever, at the end of the day, him and Ryan together would score touchdowns every week.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. He doesn't need to be fast. He's just the chemistry was there, and he's a big dude. He doesn't have that chemistry with the receivers and clock makers, so he needs the speed that he had when he subbed for NR, for instance, where he was successful. So I think it's just a matter of this is not.
And that's what I was hinting at is when he subbed for NR, we saw, Ryan Cass is a really good quarterback, and it's that he had all of that insane amount of speed at his disposal that he doesn't have on his team.
Yeah, I think that the roster, as good as we think it is, might not be as competitive as it might turned out to be with this quarterback.
Pay attention to the show. Yeah.
Toss up. Who should be more worried right now for their playoff positioning? The Finest or Monstars? And could one of them fall to the 6th seed or perhaps out of the playoff race?
We haven't talked about this yet. We can move to the next one.
Well, but we talk about how we don't think the finals will fall off, but we haven't really addressed whether or not Monsters could fall out of the playoffs.
Well, I said it quickly. They already have 7 games played. They're 1 game ahead behind.
1 game ahead behind.
At 3 and 4, it's not the greatest position to be in, because the next game, who's the next game?
Goffat. With the potential return of Rod Mashtub. I'm no longer saying he's returning.
We don't know if he's coming back.
It may be a take-in situation.
If they can't beat, this is a big game.
And I'm saying take-in situation because now not only do we know that Liam Neeson was in the movie Taken, but we know with Rod Mashtub being Arab descent and Liam Neeson's history of racial comments, maybe the 2 reasons to worry about Rod.
You're going there?
Yeah. Well, I didn't. Liam Neeson did.
So this, to me, this is probably the biggest game of the week. Monstars got fat. If Monstar loses and moves to 3 and 5,
that becomes interesting.
It's tough, and that means got fat also moves to 3 and 3.
3 and 3, yeah.
So essentially, as many points as Monstars without the 2 losses on top. So 2 weeks ahead behind.
This like half buy that we do now makes it very difficult to analyze situations.
So this is going to be a huge game. If Monstars are able to pull away from this one and win, that sort of sinks got fat back.
Toss up. Heading into the final 4.
Sinks them back. Head behind, sinks them back.
I was going to say, let's just
I like the head behind, though.
Toss up. Heading into the final 4 weeks of the Div 1 season, who do you give the edge to be the number 1 seed? Flagmoissac or Braves?
Braves to me are the best team, and now they've tied Flagmoissac and beaten them once. It's
no.
Braves beat Flagmoissac, no?
No, Flagmoissac won.
No,
my mistake. So
it's 4-4. It's 4-1-1 against 4-2-1.
Yeah. My opinion is still
they're 1 game ahead.
Regardless of making that mistake, I still think Braves are the strongest team. I don't think they're losing a game the rest of the way.
Braves are 1 ahead behind. They've already played that loss.
How is it always a loss? They've also played that win.
No, because they both have 4 wins. The only difference is Braves have 1 more game played, which end up to be a loss.
But they also have 1 more game played that ended up to be a win.
No, because they both have wins. They're both at 4 wins, 1 tie.
Does he not know probability or
no?
Toss up. Which quarterback do you like better, Joe Mayer in Div 1 or Joe Mayer in Div 2?
So he's the same person. I don't know.
Well, to his argument, Joe Mayer plays much better in Div 1 because he's got all his guys. In Div 2, the team is fairly the same, but not so much.
Mm-hmm.
That he's trying to hit. This one play I remember from last week when Braves 2.0 sort of melted, where he hit his brother Francis Mayer square in the chest, bubbled over his head for a pick.
That's fine.
And what do you want to do? So he's just the same quarterback, but his receivers are not as good, so he's not as efficient.
But I don't think it's necessarily his play.
And I also don't think the defense are that far from one another.
Who you got winning Conference A and Conference B in Division 2?
Who you got?
Who you got, Simon?
You start.
No, because I'm loading the page.
I was opening my phone. Who you got?
Who you got?
I can't
Toss
believe
up.
No,
Who you got?
Who you got?
Lover boy.
Okay, Conference A. I'm gonna go with Braves 2.0. I think it's the safest bet.
Because John Mayer is not as good as John Mayer.
Yeah. All right. Well, looking at the division across, I don't think either Killer Bees, Prospect Squad, Alcoholics, or Bad Boys are going to be able to catch up. That leaves Terra Squad, #NR, and Braves 2.0. I'm taking Braves 2.0 over #NR.
Because they have the head-to-head as well.
And I also don't think that Terra Squad is going to be able to reach. So it's a race between those two, and I'm picking Braves 2.0. Conference
fair. I agree with that.
Conference B, well, we're going to do the same process where it's not SYO, it's not Nighthawks, it's not King's Landing, it's not Clockmakers. That leaves Controversy, STL, you can sit with us. I'll take controversy out of the discussion because they're 2 games behind. So there's STL at 6-1, or you can
And
sit with us
STL
at 6-0.
is a game and a half behind because again the tiebreaker goes to you can't sit with us.
I'm gonna go with STL in this one.
So,
I think
so. Who is you can't sit with us losing to?
So
Because they gotta lose twice for that to be true.
so STL are gonna win the rest of the way.
No, that's not what I asked you. You can't sit with us. Need to lose 2 games for what you said to be true. Which 2 games?
Oh, looking at their schedule.
They're playing Nighthawks. They're playing Killer Bees.
That's a 10-0 record.
They're playing Terror Squad. And they're playing Alcoholics.
But, no, that's
So with
10-0.
no research, you believe STL
That's a 10-0 record.
will
No, because I looked at it. I said STL is gonna go 9-0, 9-1,
Mhm.
and you can sit with us.
without knowing who they play.
Had some very close games, and I didn't think they would win the rest of the way. Looking at their schedule, there's no way they're losing these 4 games. They're gonna go 10-0.
Correct. And Alex Holloway may win quarterback of the year again because he's having a monster season.
He's having a monster season. He has 4 games where he's gonna
And
throw like
against
25
this-
touchdowns,
But he has 4 games against like the easiest part of his schedule is to come.
and he's gonna face defenses that he's gonna score 6 or 7 touchdowns per week against, which puts him at an extra 25, 26 touchdowns on the season,
A lot of pressure.
and maybe no picks.
Guys, it's slowly approaching midnight, and I feel it's the
It's 11:14.
haunting
It's
hour.
not approaching midnight. We're so far from midnight.
It's not that far.
I'm so ashamed of him.
It's time for games of the week. Spookiness.
That was my favorite one. Just like, I'm done with your shit.
Give me.
All right, let's do Div 1.
Who you got?
Exactly. Div 1, Monstars versus Godfat.
I'm gonna assume the return of Rod Mashtub because he has to come back
The
eventually.
game within the game. Last time they played, it got to the last bit of the game. Godfat went for 2 to win and didn't get the convert.
I don't think this one will be close. Monsters.
Braves, D-Boys.
I'm not picking. Apparently, I don't know. He just skipped me. Give me Braves on this one against D-Boys. I think D-Boys are still trying to find themselves, and Braves are just a juggernaut. This
Braves are doing well, and D boys are L boys this season.
DK, Waste, Ute.
They did beat finals.
Give me Waste Ute on this one. I think DK's been playing a little over their head. Waste Ute will win this game.
I agree. I think Waste Ute has a lot to gain here, considering where they are in the standings. Back-to-back wins could really put them in a good spot.
And lastly, we have Montreal's Finest versus FMS.
My heart wants to go flag 1 sack, but I feel like Montreal's Finest will do the Montreal's Finest thing and just win the rest of the way.
I disagree. I think Finest loses this game also. They lost to D-Boys this week. Finest is a mess this season.
Okay. Let's look in Div 2 here. So let's go with Alcoholics versus Terror Squad.
Give me the squad. Give me
Yeah,
Terror
I
Squad.
was
That
gonna say-
defense is good. It's going to cause
Exactly
issues
for
for
that
Paula
reason. Exactly that reason. Is Terror
Uh,
Squad's defense will make it too difficult for Paula Pierre.
Killa Bees versus the newly acquired QB Pareca with Prospect Squad.
I love Mary Pareco with Prospect Squad. It's the perfect match. I hope this is a long-term arrangement. Give me Prospect Squad.
I like I like Prospect Squad here as well. I think that they have this type of receivers that Killer Bees will not be able to stop.
Fun fact, Killa Bees is outside of playoff contention, so if they lose this game, they're basically out of it. It's almost a must-win. Almost. SYO for Life versus King's Landing.
So how is it not almost like he
It-
said? He
it-
said
it-
if
it-
you lose her out, but it's almost a
There's-
must win.
no, 'cause it's
They're
like
ahead behind.
they have to win every other game, and every other team
Nice,
needs
I
to
had that.
lose, and there's a very particular order that has to happen. That's why.
So he didn't do the research.
So I head behind. Sorry, which one you said?
I said SYO for Life versus King's Landing.
Give me King's Landing. I'm not a big fan of SYO for Life.
Yeah,
Even
it's-
with Christian Sarantola, it's an upgrade. But I think that if there's one thing that King's Landing can do is contain a quarterback.
Yeah,
So
and Sean Abram has, to his credit, had a great season. 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
he's playing well. It's just
He's. I don't think
It's
that-
just not enough.
SYO for Life won't have enough possessions to make this a game.
And last game, STL versus Controversy.
That's your game.
I'm gonna go STL because they're gonna go 9-1. So I gotta stick by my word. Sorry, Dan.
I don't know.
It's A or B.
Give me Controversy. I don't like it though. It's gonna be a
Guys.
close game. It'll be a game. It'll
So
be
you're
a
picking
game.
against your boy?
I mean, I guess I have a boy on like every team at this point. So. I've either played with or against everyone by this point.
That's not true.
Like it's like 90% true.
That's also not true. I'm not Div 1.
No, but that's why 90% of the league. A lot of guys play multiple divisions.
That's true. Because 98% of the division is not in the 1, 2, and 3.
That's what I'm saying.
Thank you guys.
Final thoughts?
Thank you guys. I also learned that I'm not tolerant for some reason.
You're not tolerant.
I have 2 final thoughts. Final thought number 1, hope the show was better than last week. So, sorry about that. And second thing, playoff schedule's up. So if you want to go check to see when your potential game's going to be, go check that out. Make sure you don't book dinner reservations or vacation or any other thing that ends with shin. Just don't do it.
Satisfaction.
Lotion. Don't buy lotion that week.
Do not buy lotion that week or the week before, or since that you now
Just
know
stock up on your lotion now, because you don't know what can happen.
Is it cheaper now? Is there like a rabais now?
I don't do my own shopping. There's no way I would know that. You realize I live a very pampered existence, right?
I mean, Amazon Prime, bro.
I don't do it myself.
Hit that Amazon Prime. Give me that lotion.
That's what assistants are for. Thank you, Simon, for a head behind. You were a head behind in the show.
I still like that sentence.
Yeah, you would. Thank you, Eagle, for all the work you've done and helping me not murder Simon throughout the night. But most of all, thank you all for letting me be myself.
Seriously though, are you ahead behind?
I'm behind. I'm legit behind.
So you're 2 games behind on losses?
I'm at least 2 games behind on life.
You know what goes well with lotion?
What?
Masturbation.